Good morning. It's actually almost afternoon here. We had torrential rain and I have skylights in my little studio and the noise was just horrendous, so I couldn't record. But here we go anyway. We're going to be making these cute little storage boxes. Again, another great little room filler. I was thinking, I just had a bit of a revelation. You could actually stack these up on their sides and make little cupboards, little shelves out of them in a bedroom, in a kid's bedroom, a children's bedroom. You could use them for anything. They're just great little things for show. And you know the way we miniaturists, we make tiny little things, and we like to show them off and places to put them and place them. These are perfect. This is what your PDF file will look like. As always in A4. The files come in DXF, Vector, PDF and SVG. They should pretty much cover any machine or laser because they're all pretty much adaptable. But if it's a case none of those files suit you and your particular machine, just let me know and I will do the format for you. I am going to use this video as a sort of a definitive video that I'll refer people back to, because I'm going to make the full thing and glue down the full thing. I don't know how long it's going to go on for, but it's important I do this so people get the gist of what way this furniture is made. Because if and when we move on to bigger stuff, larger things, I won't be able to glue down everything. So I will refer people back to this video just to see and get the gist of everything properly. So this is your template guide. You're probably sick listening to me now if you follow me and you're used to my tutorials. My problem is if there's new people looking at my tutorials, it's important that everybody gets to understand the concept behind this way of making furniture. So just bear with me. Anyway, this is your template guide. What you do is you cut out actually, how many do you get out of that? I never said. Oh, you get 2 boxes out of that particular layout. When you cut this out, just 1 sheet of 300 GSM cardstock, you will be able to make 2 of these little boxes. So you just literally lay up in the position of the shape like this. This is the box side, and it's obvious what it is because of the little circle in it, and it fits perfectly. This is the same for every single file. Every single furniture file I have will fit like this. They'll fit like a glove, and if they don't, there's something wrong. Report back to me. But I have checked these files over and over again. I highly doubt any of them are wrong. I know they're not actually. But this is a very simple one. It's all there's literally 5 layers on everything, and there's only 5 pieces to this. But I am going to tell you, get used to printing off your template guide so you can follow along with me and do things properly, especially when we move on to bigger stuff. So the first time you make these, go along with me, print off your template guide and follow along. Yeah, I have my gloopy glue. This is just PVA glue. A lovely lady gave me a tip because I ran out of glue that wasn't tacky. I used this glue. I have been using this glue because I ran out of my really good tacky glue, and it was driving me insane because things weren't gripping fast enough for me. But she suggested leaving the glue in the tub and leave it for a few hours, and it goes tacky, and it really works. It's brilliant. Genius idea. But that's my story and a tip for you. I'm passing on from the lovely Wendy. Now, actually, now, whatever piece you decide to start gluing down, take it off your template guide and put it beside you, and you will not go wrong. You won't doubt yourself, or you won't lose count. Now I am just putting enough glue on. I put too much on there. I'm putting enough glue on that I know it's going to stick and it's not too much. Because what happens is, I think I did put too much on. When you're trying to stick it down, see, it gets slidey. And it becomes a bit of a pain when you're trying to compress it because it keeps popping out of place. I am compressing this down as hard as I can. This is a ruler. I used to use my Cricut scraping tool and it went missing in the abyss. So anything plastic, even a clay ribber, you know, a hard plastic clay ribber, anything plastic, do not use anything metal because it'll just scratch your card and ruin your piece. So, and make sure you get your edges. Edges are so important. I'm going to get complaints now. Get your edges. I should get a t-shirt saying, get your edges. You just line it up as best you can. All you can do is your best. They're never going to be perfectly perfect. And even if they're not, at the end I will show you how to cover up little mistakes. Not an issue at all. Now I'm just putting a slathering of glue on. I'm trying to get everything perfect. As perfect as I can. I'm applying a good bit of pressure. It's good to turn it over and do the same on the other side too. Applying lots of pressure. That's number one, and put it back in its place. Now, we're on the second part. We'll have this done in no time. I have a terry towel, a damp terry towel on the side so I can wipe my fingers in between layers. Lining it up. I actually, when I was getting this ready and when you see me doing this, when you see a tutorial up on YouTube, you know you can get the file on the website. Now I have not added this, I haven't added this to the website yet until I have this tutorial ready and to go up on YouTube. But I should have included some sort of backing paper. So when you get your file, you will have a 12 by 12 and A4 backing paper, matching backing paper in with the file, just to give you a little start. If you decide you want to, you know, add a nice little backing paper to it, a little pattern paper. I wasn't thinking there at all. There are tons and tons of backing paper. I would say hundreds of backing papers up on the website, and my backing papers come in two coordinating backing papers, and they will, a lot of them will lend themselves perfectly to miniatures, to miniature doll's house. What you would have to do with some of them is resize them up and down, and I think you're better off doing that yourself anyway. You can get to the size you want. You're the boss. My backing paper files come in sets of 2. They're mix and match sets of 2, and they come in both 12 by 12 and A4 sizes. So, And I'm going to tell you now, go grab yourself a cup of coffee before you start browsing. There's so many of them. But there's bound to be something there. There's all sorts of vintage patterns, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's I'm a huge, one of my inspirations for designing patterns is William Morris. And there's a lot of patterns on there that are reminiscent of William Morris because they were purely inspired by him. Now, I didn't directly copy his work, but some of his colour schemes and his use of big bold flowers and butterflies and things. Oh, if you haven't heard of William Morris, look him up and look up some of his patterns. They're just incredible. What else? There's ginghams. Now I'm just lining it up. You can see me. I'm putting a lot of pressure on. We've lots of old-fashioned flavours. I love my 1970s wallpapers. Well, they're not wallpapers, they're patterns, but they do look like wallpapers. So you can resize them and use them whatever way you wish. I don't mind at all. If you sell furniture and you make furniture, miniature furniture, you can use my papers. I really don't mind. Yeah, put that back in its place. Now we're on to the last two, the sides. What else is up there? There's lots. There's literally thousands of different types of graphics and SVG files and all sorts of goodies. And commercial use is perfectly okay on everything. Everything on that site. I really don't mind. The only thing I ask is just don't sell my files as is. Especially my furniture files. I put such hard work into them, and I would be so upset to see someone trying to sell them. But you're free to make the furniture as much as you like, and you can sell your furniture online. It's up to you. I don't mind at all. And if you do make things up and share some pictures, let me know, because I love that. Do you know what? It gives me great pride to know that I designed that piece of furniture and you've done your wonderful piece of artwork with it. I would love that. Almost there. Yeah, I will definitely include a backing paper, a lovely shabby chicy maybe backing paper in the file when you get it. Apologies now, I wasn't thinking there. I should have, because I always try to stick something extra in my files. The brain was lapsing. Now we've just one more side to do after this and then we're done. We've gotten that done in no time at all. And I'm actually going slower than normal for the sake of the tutorial, and it's harder for me because my hands are way out away from me. I usually have them up in my face nearly when I'm doing them. When you think about it, you get two to each cut. The makings of 2 of these boxes to each cut. You wouldn't have 2 or 3 cuts. You'd have loads stuck down in no time. Yeah. Ready to dry out, and you would have a good few boxes done in no time. Nope, too much glue. Way too much glue. Yeah. Just to brainwash it. Get your edges and just enough glue that you know it's going to stick. Not too dry either. You will learn. You will learn as you go along. I hope I'm not back too far. I'm sorry now if I went back too far. That's my spot. And I keep forgetting. It's at this stage now, I grab my little cloth and just, if you just examine and take off any glue you might see, especially if there's any little lumpy bits, because they can be a curse after it dries. Nope, that's all right, that's clean. So is that one. Now all that's left to do is put your pieces somewhere nice and flat and put a heavy weight. In this case I use heavy books. I have lots of art books and all sorts of things, and you leave it to dry for a couple of hours. With these tiny pieces, a couple of hours is fine, especially at this time of year. But when we move on to larger pieces, they will have to be left for 24 hours overnight. There's just no way out of it, because your pieces will warp when you're trying to put them together. I will explain later on in much more detail. I'll try to show you what I mean. So I'm just going to pause for a little while and I'll be right back. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. I'm after being out playing with my doggy at the back. So now that they're dry, well, almost dry, they'll do. You'll get away with it on these small ones, definitely not on the bigger ones. As you can see, put them back in their places. Just get into the habit of doing this, so you can go along with me and you won't go wrong. And if you notice, everything fits. I haven't got them on perfect, but everything fits perfectly, so you won't go wrong on as to where and what part is which, because they're well named and they fit perfect in their respective places. Now, my gloopy glue. I have my gloopy glue. So we're going to go with the base and the box sides. The box sides are going to nudge up against the edge, so we just glue the inner edge. And we nudge it up there. We leave it to settle for a few seconds while we do the other side. It's going to nudge up against the edge, so we're just going to glue the inner edge. Yeah, well, I've still got a bit of tack. This glue certainly is tacky. My goodness, it's great. Get off now. I don't want glue under my paint. Now I have my little handy dandy nail tool. It's a silicone tool. It's brilliant for taking the excess glue off. Now just wipe my hands. A good way of making sure you have all the edges on this have to be perfect. I just flip it up on its side and press down on all parts, on all three sides, and then we know we're even, we're perfectly even. Now we're going to take off our large box sides, and this is going to stick on the outside up against those, so you will need to glue the inner edge of three sides, the sides and the bottom. I know that's on there, so I'm just going to put the other one on, and then we can have a little play around. The same thing, it's going to go up like this, so we want to glue the three of the inner sides, the two sides and the bottom. Confusing myself there altogether. Now, I know it's self-explanatory, but I just feel I need to explain, especially for, if there are people who've never made miniature furniture before. I just want to make sure everything is clear. Little tap, making sure everything is even. Now what I'm going to do is just gently turn it upside down. Now I see, do you know something, all my dictating, get your edges. I didn't get my edge there, do you see it? It's easily rectified. Can you see that? On a tiny piece like this, it's easily rectified. But if you move on to bigger pieces and there's a few edges not stuck down, you can run into trouble. I'm going to flatten it down like this. Give it a little rub. Now, problem solved. You would never know. Now, I have glue on the edge here. I want to get it off. Very important. Because when you go to paint, you'll have little dots. This was one I made years ago. It was the very first one I made of this when I was designing. But look at the paint, there was loads of glue and loads of mistakes. I didn't really mind because I knew it was just a tester. But it's just an example of what happens if you have too much glue and too much messing around going on your piece. So just a damp cloth, or even a fresh baby wipe or a wet wipe, but just don't saturate, just gentle little wipe to get the bits off. There's a bit there, look. Now that's gone. I think I'm okay. I'll just have another look on the inside. If you take care at this stage, it's plain sailing all the way. Now if you look, this goes for any size furniture. You're going to have, I'm going to hold this as still as I can. Do you see the little ridges from where you can press the paper? We're going to get rid of that right now. Now this glue is too gloopy. I need fresh glue because I need it to be smooth. Oh, that's my varnish, that's not my glue. I'm just going to use a drop of fresh glue. Now, I'll try hold it up so you can see closer what I'm doing. What you're doing is you're just going to go along all the edges and peek the glue on. You make a doming, I suppose is the closest word I can think. And don't be afraid of it. If it starts to go over the edges, you can just wipe it off in a few minutes. Don't be afraid of it. You want to make a nice globby dome, nice and smooth, and get into all those little areas where the grooves are. This works just like magic. And the end result is no one is ever going to know that this is made out of card. They will swear it's wood. They won't believe you if you say it's card. In case I didn't say, for the purposes of this tutorial, for the tutorials, I use 300 GSM cardstock. And I do advise you to do the same until you get used to making the furniture this way. Then you can play around with all your recycled materials, boxes and whatever packaging, or your old cardstock that you have. I know if you're a crafter, I know you have cardstock lying around that's not being used. Even pattern cardstock, it's fine. You can use anything. You can use anything your machine will cut. But for now, go along with me with 300 GSM cardstock, and then when you get used to the process, then move on to play around with different thicknesses of card. And because a cornflake box, the average cereal box is thicker than 300 GSM. Well, not the average, a lot of them are. So instead of 5, you might only need 4, and so on and so forth. So this is why I say go along with me with 300 GSM, and then when you know what you're doing and you have your feet on the ground, you can play away. So that would be dry in about an hour and a half, depending again on weather and humidity and heat. But that will dry out flat. Sometimes it looks like the grooves are still there, but they're not, because when you paint it then everything is smooth. I have one here I did earlier. Now if you can see that. It still looks like the grooves are there, but they're not. When I paint that, it's going to be really smooth. Now this is dry. We pretend that's that one. I'm going to explain varnish, glue, paint. They all have to be water-based. No oil-based anything, because it doesn't work with this way of making furniture. You want water-based that will soak into this and become part of your piece. This is extra strong matte. It's non-yellowing, quick drying, and most important of all, it's water-based. Now I bought this on Amazon. I highly recommend it. I will always show this bottle. I'm not affiliated. I don't get paid, and I just love the product, and I will endorse it till the cows come home. But if you can't get this, or you can, wherever you are in the world, just make sure it's non-yellowing and water-based and a matte finish. Even though it's a matte finish, I'm trying to see what I have here even though it's a matte finish, it has a tiny sheen. I hope it shows up now. I'm going to move this around as much as I can so you can see the sheen on it. And I think it lends itself perfect to miniature furniture. So that's my special varnish. Now I am going to always varnish these first with your varnish. You want the varnish to soak right into it and strengthen it for you. It's magic really what happens. I have my brush. Now I am literally going to slather it on, and then I'll go around afterwards. I will go around afterwards and then smooth it out and make sure there's no lumps and bumps and ugly lines. When I go around the back, when I turn around the back, I'll put it closer up to the camera. It just eats it. It eats it up. It's fantastic. Now, you would take your time. I'm just going fast for the sake of that tutorial. I'm all tongue-tied today. Whatever's going on with me. I'm trying to get to the back so I can show you. You might see it on this. It literally soaks straight into it. That's why I do put a good lot on. And then when it stops soaking in, I'll clean off my brush and just give it a nice smooth wipe. Now we're onto the back. Now hopefully you'll see it now. I'm going to put it on nice and thick everywhere, every little nook and cranny and orifice, all the edges. That could do it a bit more. It's just eating it, it's swallowing it up, and that's what you want. This is going to make it so strong. I'm going to clean off my brush now and just wipe away any streaks. And that's it. It's as simple as that. This process really works. It's fantastic. I'm just making sure I have no streaks. And this is fast drying. This will be touch dry, I would say, in about 15 minutes. Depending on where you are in the world again. It could be dry in 3 minutes if you live in, somewhere really hot. You'll know because you can touch it and pick it up. Now, even though it's touch dry, it's not cured. This is going to take 24 to 48 hours to cure. But touch dry for your first coat of paint is perfectly fine. It's okay to do that. Now I'm going to leave that for about 10 minutes and then we'll get stuck in with the paint. Okay, It's been about 15 minutes and it's dry. It's touch dry. So what colour will we go today? Let me see. I'd like to try this one out. I did open it, but I actually, I don't think I've used it. Or have I? No, I haven't used this one yet. These are water-based. They're just little sample pots. They're brilliant. You can use acrylic paint. You can use your watercolours mixed with things. It's any paint at all, as long as it's water-based. These last such a long time. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Look at that. Hold on, I will see the name of that is. It's Buzz Blue. It does look buzzy. Yeah. Okay. After you do your first coat, you leave it, and you must do this for the process to work properly, and you won't land up with a big streaky mess. You leave it to dry for 24 hours. You leave it to completely cure. 24 hours or more, depending on, again, you know, where you live, the heat and humidity and all that kind of thing. This is all soaking. You can see it in front of your eyes. It's when I go onto the back of it. No, actually, you should see it here. Look, this, even with the varnish, this is soaking in. You can nearly see it drying before your eyes, and I'm telling you now, it's very damp and humid here today. You can see it practically drying away. This will be touch dry in a few minutes, but don't be tempted. Leave it to dry for 24 hours. And it's going to harden. It's going to shrink in, and it's just fantastic what happens. This is definitely going to need 2 coats, but don't be tempted. Sometimes patience is the name of the game. I'm always suggesting work on a few pieces at the same time to take away that impatient anxiety. I hope I didn't go off camera there. We're just going nice and smooth. That's nearly dry in there already. We're just going nice and smooth. We're not adding too much paint. We're giving it nice long strokes so it doesn't leave streaks. Now you would take your time with this. I'm just rushing for the sake of the tutorial. Now that would be touch dry in no time at all, in a few minutes. It's nearly touch dry in parts already. Leave that to dry. Trust me on this, 24 hours. Then you can do your second coat. When your second coat is, when this is dry, this is where you examine it and see, are you happy? Like, I can't see any grooves. I need my glasses. Hold on a sec, I just smoothed that out. The big globby there. Sorry, now I'm off camera. Do you remember we put the glue on? We domed the glue on to get rid of. This is where when this is dry, you examine it, and if you see parts that you're not happy with, you can re-glue it again, dome some more glue on, and leave it to dry, and then do your second coat. It's not a problem at all. I have had to do that many times, but it works. It works a treat. I'm just looking. I can see a little bit there. Now that wouldn't necessarily bother me, because when we do the second coat on the varnish, that would be less noticeable. But if it's an issue for you, just glob some more glue on when it's dry. Let that dry, leave it alone for 24 hours, and then do your second coat. I'll leave that on its side there. What happens is the magic of it all. This was painted with a chalky paint. I want to show you the difference. A water-based chalky paint. And these are made up the exact same. How many? 5. See how the chalky paint makes it thicker? So it's a matter of taste and preference. It's up to you, you know, what kind of paints you use. Just experiment, you know. But after you give that the second coat of paint, You let that dry for about 3 hours. I know it seems like an eternity, but sometimes just a little bit of patience. Work on a few at the same time and it'll take that stress and anxiety out. You know, the impatience. I know what that's like. Sometimes when I'm working on something new, I get so excited. You know, I'd be wishing my life away waiting for the thing to dry. You just have to learn to switch off. But anyway, yeah, when the second coat, when you have the second coat on, leave it to dry for about 3 hours. More if you can. Then apply your last coat of varnish. And then magic happens. I mean, you can squeeze them really and truly. There is no one going to know that they are made of 300 GSM cardstock. They're as good as wood. I'm going to explain this. I've told the story behind this a few times, and this is the last time. As I said, this was me just testing out a design. It was my very first attempt at this, and I wanted to see how it worked. So I wasn't bothered about the finish on it, but this is what happens when you have too much glue and it gets messy. What else was there I wanted to say to you? Yeah, this is about 6 years old. Now, it had not changed in any way, shape or form. It hasn't faded. Even the gold, I deliberately put the gold on scrappy. So I was trying to, I don't know what I was trying to do. I was just experimenting because I knew this wasn't going to be the finished product. But it has not changed colour. It's as strong as anything. Especially because, where's my glue gone? Especially because the glue is non-yellowing. That makes it archival. Which means you are going to have beautiful furniture, handmade with love by you, that can be handed down generations. And I just think that is so cool. It's as good as wood. I mean, the light wood that's used in dollhouse making, if that gets wet, it's ruined anyway. If it gets saturated. This has survived in my workshop with no heating. And in Ireland, we have very humid weather. Very, very humid and damp. Again, it's just before COVID this was made, and it's still as good as, and was lying out in a damp workshop. And this one, a damp studio. Now I do have this ready to go. There's a few changes to it, but I'm looking forward to that as well. It's a really good one. This is a little love seat. Do you remember earlier on we were speaking about if it's bigger pieces, leave them to dry overnight, 24 hours. Just leave them to dry under a heavy weight, nice and flat, somewhere nice and warm. Because if this was still damp when you're putting it together, even if you think it's straight, when you're putting it together, within a couple of hours it's going to be warped and it's ruined. There's no going back from it. So you have to put all your hard work into gluing it down and sticking everything down. Just be patient. Just be patient. This one here is an example, like this is the layout for this, for the box. That's one sheet, you get 2 boxes. To make this, including the cushion and all sorts of little bits and pieces, it takes 4 cuts, 4 separate cuts. So that's what you're kind of moving on to, because it's larger. It's not that there's more parts. There's actually only, I'd say, 2 more parts than the box. But I hope you get the gist of what direction we're going in. This one here, including the poof, has a lot of parts, but they're quick and easy. This one, I think 4 pages for this, no, 3 pages for this and 1 page for the little stool, poofy stool. This is going to be, this is actually the next one I'm going to film. I want to do the tutorial on this and take my time doing it. But this is why I'm going to call this the definitive one, because there's no way I'm going to be able to glue down all the parts for everyone. I'll have to cut it short, just do a couple of the harder parts. So anyway, I hope that has been of use to you. And I'm dying to see if you try them out. Send me pictures, let me know how you get on with my cutting files. I will leave details of the website below. So for now, I'm going to say slán go fóill, and I'll see you soon.